Good evening. It is Tuesday, February 7th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We'll provide our opinions, positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined this evening by two of my partners in crime. My OG, my brother J3. What's going on, partner? How you doing this evening?
Big Red, what's going on? What's up, yo? How you doing? And welcome back.
Oh, thank you so much. How are you gentlemen tonight? I'm doing pretty good.
Outstanding.
And as you heard the voice of one of the members of Ladies Point of View, Yo is back in the building. Again, how you
Yes,
doing,
indeed.
Yo? So this evening, we're going to give you quick hits. Then we got to talk about the biggest game in U.S. sports, the Super Bowl. We're going to give you a little NFL news and then talk about this crazy NBA and what went down. Your boy Kyrie did it again, J3. Your boy Kyrie did it again.
Wow. That's all I got to say is wow.
And then we're going to end it with our final post of the evening. So as always, we appreciate you all tuning in. So please sit back and relax. Enjoy Post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. So I've been keeping you informed about what's been going on a little bit in women's sports. In the WNBA, free agency officially started last Wednesday, and the big names have been moving around either via trade, but the biggest name to sign a free agent, Breanna Stewart, is leaving the Seattle Storm, the only organization she's played with professionally in the U.S., where she's won 2 titles and an MVP, to join forces with Sabrina Ionescu, former MVP Jonquel Jones, who left the Connecticut Sun to come to play for the Liberty, all to make this big super team. And then they added former champion and all-star point guard Courtney Vandersloot, who played for the Chicago Sky her whole career. She's joining the Liberty. So they are stacking up. New York went from an original 6 franchise to they fell on hard times. Now they're trying to make a run for that title.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think they took a blueprint out of the Big Three from the NBA and try to build a conglomerate team in the WNBA so they can be dominant for the next couple of years?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the blueprint. Once they renegotiated their new contract, CPA 2 years ago, which made free agency a little more open. You've been seeing big stars move around the WNBA, which they didn't used to be able to do. But this is all to compete with the defending champion, Las Vegas Aces.
Yeah.
Because the Las Vegas Aces have a 2-time WMVP, forward center Asia Wilson, Finals MVP point guard Chelsea Gray, all WNBA guard Kelsey Plum, all-star guard Jackie Young, and then they added Candace Parker to that group.
Yeah.
That's 4 number one overall picks in WNBA. And Chelsea Gray, who was the Finals MVP, who's also an all-WNBA player. So they look like they're on a collision course, and everybody else just got fit in where they can get in.
Yeah, I mean, I figured they probably make some moves like that after that new CBA came through. I was just kind of waiting to see who would make what moves where, to see what teams would come out. And I knew the Aces were going to try to build up to keep, try to get that championship again. So this should be interesting.
Yeah, because the Liberty, they haven't won anything in a while, have they?
They've never won a championship.
They've never.
They've came close.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so. And when you got the deepest pockets as far as WNBA ownership, because the same owner that owns the Brooklyn Nets, Joe Tsai, owns the Liberty. He moved them back to Brooklyn, so they're playing on the same court as the Nets. So he's pouring in money. He's also one of the owners who's behind trying to help get the WNBA players charter flights. He actually got fined a year ago where he was chartering flights for his team because he's a multi-billionaire. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to put my people on the charter flight instead of having them walking commercial airports and try to catch a plane for a game.
Well, now that they freed up some money because somebody left the nest. I mean,
Would you say maybe he can float that whole bill, huh?
oh man.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that one.
Oh boy.
Talking to more basketball, let's hit the college real quick. The men's college basketball season. Most people are used to March Madness. This whole season has been madness in men's college basketball.
Yeah.
There have been 9 number 2 ranked teams that have lost within 2 weeks of them becoming ranked number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them lost the week they were ranked number 2. 9, the most that's ever happened. Number 1 Purdue lost on the road this past week at rival Indiana, but because everybody else was losing below them, they ended up staying at number 1 because number 2 Tennessee got run. They lost to unranked Florida. This was the number 2 team in the country who's lost 3 times to unranked teams. That's how crazy this season has been. So it's going to be a crazy conference finals for conference championships, and then March Madness is going to be off the chain for all you people that love men's college basketball. And then you got Duke, UNC, Kentucky, Michigan, Michigan State, all unranked this season.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that because the talent's not there, or because their record's just not where it needs to be, or a combination of both?
Well, I don't know. I think it's a combination of both, but I think I know Duke's issues really it is the Coach K not being there. I think they're just trying to really, reinvent themselves there. So I think that has a lot to do with the program there. I think once they get more familiar with the way that he's running stuff down there, it'll be better for them. But I mean, I just think it's a rebuild. I think it's a really kind of a rebuilding because everybody's able to, go into these transfer portals now. People are seeing that these other schools are offering. You don't have to go to these, the blue blood schools. You can go to these other schools now because now to me it's almost like a true March Madness because anybody can get in now. There's going to be any 64 or 68, that can get in now. And all of these other smaller schools who have been doing it through the play-ins or getting it through their conference championship, they have shown, when they're knocking out the number 1s and number 2s, in the first rounds. So I think it'll actually definitely be interesting. But I definitely know, being a Duke fan, I just know that's more of their issue is that they're getting used to that new coach.
Definitely coaching at Duke and UC are definitely part of the problem. But I think the biggest problem is what you hit, the transfer portal. Now you have players.
Yep.
And it's not just players leaving the big teams. It's players that have been playing for mid-major and low-major teams that are really good. Now they're transferring after 2 or 3 years and going to other teams that weren't as powerful as the Dukes and Kentuckys and UNCs. And now they've got 3 and 4 seniors on the team or 5th-year seniors. Some of them have COVID seniors that have been playing basketball for 6 years. So it's like we can knock people off. I mean, you got Houston, who's been in the top 5 for the last 3 years since the transfer portal started. Alabama, a football school, is now a basketball powerhouse. So because now you can bring all these people from anywhere. So it's going to be real interesting. I'm looking forward to the March Madness.
Absolutely.
Same thing on the women's side and women's college basketball. For all the people out there that say people don't watch women's college sports, this past Sunday, you had 2 of the premier programs meet again. Number 1, South Carolina took on number 3, UConn. They needed a second half comeback to come back and beat an injury-ridden UConn team 81-77. So that shows how great of a coach Gino Auriemma is. He's missing 3 of his top scorers and still has his team in the top 5 in the country. But they sold out the XL Center, which seats 16,000 people.
Because you got the number 1 and number 2 playing. That's to be expected.
No, but if you listen to the quote unquote a lot of the pundits out there, no one wants to watch women's basketball.
Yeah.
We know better than that.
Put it on TV, advertise, and let people know people will watch.
Mhm.
Speaking of that, there are only 2 undefeated teams left in women's college basketball. Number 1, South Carolina. Number 3, LSU. They play this Sunday at 2 p.m. on ESPN. I bet you that gets huge numbers because you got 2 SEC teams clashing, 2 of the best teams. So it's just amazing to see how far women's college basketball is coming now that you can find it on ABC sometimes, ESPN all the time. Fox Sports 1 is not advertising. Put the games on. If you can have people watching darts, watching
corn toss
and all that.
Cornhole, yeah.
Pickleball.
But you can't put pickleball. They got professional leagues in that. But but you're saying women's basketball can't bring in a crowd. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we know better.
Yeah, so that is going to be interesting. Dawn Staley is looking to try to not only win back-to-back titles and a third title at South Carolina, a program that she built from scratch because that was the worst program in SEC when she went there. There's other big-time players that have come back to college basketball. Kara Lawson is another one. Former WNBA player, champion, played here, Washington Mystics and other places. She's turning around the women's program at Duke. Duke used to be a powerhouse women's program, then went through a little lull for a minute. Her recruiting classes have been great, and she's coaching her butt off. She's got Duke back in the top 10. So you got a bunch of these. The head coach at Notre Dame, former WNBA player, basketball player. Head coach at Georgia. The head coach at Ole Miss. There's a bunch of ex-WNBA players coaching now in women's college basketball, doing a great job. So just give your eyeballs a shot at taking a look at them. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
Couple of big fights happened this week. And again, keeping the theme of women's in sports. Amanda Serrano defeated Erica Cruz by unanimous decision to win the undisputed 126-pound women's featherweight title. Serrano is the only fighter in history to win world titles in 7 different weight classes.
Good Lord.
Yeah, really. That's crazy.
She has expanded going up. So this win sets up a super fight rematch between Serrano and undisputed 135 lightweight champion Katie Taylor for May 20th. It's going to be fought in Dublin, Ireland, which is Taylor's hometown. This is a return from the fight they fought last year, where Taylor won by split decision last April, where they sold out Madison Square Garden's main arena as women headlining the card. So she was in a small arena in Madison Square Garden again, but again, sold out the arena. People were in their seats in the prelims. Y'all, if y'all know anything about boxing, the prelims, it'd be 500 people in the stadium. They had like 11,000 people in the Kodak Studio, which is the other main hall in Madison Square Garden, hours before the main event, because they were there to support. So that was huge. So that's going to be another big fight and another huge mega step for women's boxing. The co-main event, USA's own Alicia Baumgartner defeated Alim Mackle by unanimous decision. So she's becoming the undisputed 130-pound junior lightweight champion. So she's in between the two. So her winning her championship, she says she only wants the big fights. So she can fight, go up to 135, maybe fight Taylor, go down to 126, fight Serrano, go up to 140, fight the junior weight. All these women want to fight each other, unlike men boxing, where they want to,
pick and choose who they want to fight.
You
So they
got the
won't
best
lose?
fighters in the world trying to fight the best fighters in the world, not only for
Yeah.
themselves, but for the betterment of boxing. So
Yeah,
shout out to the women. Huge, huge, huge night. And again,
absolutely.
2 women headlining a boxing card at Madison Square Garden, and they sell out
Yeah.
and get the people there early.
Picture that.
Yeah, picture that. Lastly, before we get out of here on these quick hits, for you UFC fans, UFC 284 is this Saturday from Perth, Australia. Starts at 8 p.m. for the prelims and 10 p.m. for the main pay-per-view, all on ESPN or ESPN pay-per-view. The main fight features number 1 pound for pound featherweight champion going up against number 2 pound for pound lightweight champion. So it's going to be a big time battle for that. So if you're in the mixed martial arts, a great fight card. Dana White continues to do it, even though some of his other things off the mat have been put into question. But we'll talk about that when we get done this football season. So what did y'all think about the GOAT making it official last Wednesday and says he's retiring, in his words, for good after 23 years and 7 Super Bowls?
Well, in my opinion, that last game that he had, he showed some tendencies that you're not used to seeing for Tom Brady. And I think the frustration of him not performing like he wanted to probably took his toll on him. And he realized, maybe it's time for me to hang it up.
I don't know. I just was like, okay, you should have hung it up last year when you said it first time. I mean, I don't know why everybody else just doesn't say it. He should have. I mean, this is not even. Everybody wants to say, oh, well, the whole problem with his marriage, and it doesn't even have to do with that. It's just that to me, at the end of last year, you could kind of see it. To me, you could see it coming, and then and then to start off this year, and then you already were having problems. You had to leave, camp for a second, then you came back. I mean, it just wasn't, to me, it just wasn't feeling right anyway. So I don't know why he, I guess maybe he had to see if he can get it out of his system. But okay, fine, you retired now. It doesn't have the same shock value as it did like last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, okay, all right then.
Yeah. He paid a heavy price to try to play one more year.
Yeah, I mean,
both
it just
mentally and physically.
It was too much. It was too much, but
that poses a question, and we've said this before. When is it time for you to say enough is enough? When are you going to acknowledge that you just don't have it anymore and you got to walk away?
I don't know. I think it's hard for some. I mean, in any sport, I think it's really hard for you to say, I think this is it, because, in your mind, I think that you still feel that you have something to give. And then, and it's just not until you get out there that you see that your body is just not willing to cooperate with that. I mean, I don't, because I see a lot with boxers are like that too. You're praying, please don't let something happen, because you're older now and these younger ones are coming in, and you don't, Tom Brady, you can't get in. Well, not that anybody could really touch him, but I mean, you can't get knocked down like that and get back up like you used to. It's a little bit different. So.
Yeah. And when you're the elite of the elite, it's hard saying you're still not one of the best to do it. I
agree.
And he actually set an NFL record this year for the most pass attempts.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Which is crazy. So he's like, I can still do it. But yeah, it was time. Joe didn't want to say it. J3 didn't want to say it, but he didn't want to get hit anymore. When you don't want to get hit anymore, it's time to go home. Also in the NFL, we had 2 more of the coaching vacancies filled. The Houston Texans hired their former second-round draft choice and former 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans as the next head coach. Ryans, who was drafted out of Alabama in the second round, played 6 years with Houston. So that was his draw to Houston. He still had a house in Houston. His family loved it in Houston. So he said that was his dream job because that's where he was brought into the NFL. I'm happy he got a 6-year contract, so hopefully that get him a little more stability. But I don't know about y'all, but a team that fired 3 head coaches in 3 years and 2 of them black coaches only got a year. I don't know if I could have took that job. But.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about having opportunities. He has one. So you can't have it both ways. You're either going to take what was available or you will complain because you don't have the opportunity.
But the rumor is he turned down the Denver job to take the Houston job.
Okay.
No.
If you got options, that's a great thing. Most coaches don't.
Yeah. Speaking of the Denver job,
I was going to say, poor Denver. What's Denver going to
do? They worked out compensation because they actually had to trade with the Saints. They gave up a 2023 first round, which was a pick that they actually got from Miami when they traded Bradley Chubb to Miami, and a 2024 second round draft pick just to get Peyton's contract released, because when he retired last year, he still had 2 years left on his contract. And then they hired head coach Sean Payton. He got a new 5-year deal, which is rumored to be somewhere between $17 to $20 million a year.
Good Lord.
And in his first press conference, well, not the press conference, but after the press conference in the media scrum where they asked you a bunch of questions, somebody asked him about Russell Wilson's private coach that he had in the team. He was like, I'm not familiar with that, but here you're going to have our staff and the players, and that's all that's going to be in the building. So he's setting the tone early.
I mean, that could be good and it could be bad. We'll see what happens.
Well, these are all things that Russell negotiated with after he got traded to the Broncos. But you got new ownership, new head coach. Things going to change.
Yeah, that's it. He'll get over it.
Yeah. Do y'all think Russell's washed? Or you think he still got something left in the tank?
In my opinion, I think he still has something left in the tank. I think the offensive scheme needs to change to fit more of his style. And I think the offensive line needs to do a better job blocking. I think Russell is a phenomenal quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Sean Payton, maybe, I'm going to give him one more, another season with the right coaching around him, maybe. Because I don't know. I just really feel kind of bad. Like he, put a really bad taste in the team's mouth this year for some reason. So I think he's going to have to work really hard to get that back. Because I just had this feeling that, we don't feel for him, so we're not going to block for him. We're not going to, you know what I mean? And I just, even though that's not a good attitude to take, but I mean, for some reason, like I said, they all felt this way. So I don't, I'll give them, another year, another season to see if they can get it right.
But think about this, yo. What sense does that make not to be productive for your quarterback? Because if he's not getting protected, that means he's not delivering the ball to the receivers who are not going to be able to gain the yardage that they need to score touchdowns. You don't score touchdowns, you don't win games. So if you're trying to rebel against your quarterback, that's just ass backwards because you're not going to be effective.
I mean, I feel the same way, but then it kind of looked that way, though.
I agree with you. But
and when you see that, regardless of whether or not they say we were or not, but you, like I said, you kind of, you hear the things in the news, the things that are going on in the locker room, what he's saying, what players are saying, it makes it, the environment is, there's a tension in the environment. And I mean, even if you want to, play right, it just, like I said, your feelings do get the better of you from time to time. And I think, like I said, you started to see that on the field. So to me, it has to be some kind of change has to be made for him to have to be, or for him to be very productive in that situation. So that's why I said maybe with Sean Payton coming in, maybe some other changes, maybe he'll see some things with the offense that could, work better for Russell. So maybe that'll be the change that everybody needs, to do better.
Yeah, to address your point up front, J3, I think when you purposely separate yourself from a team, especially something like football, which is so team event. He had 2 offices in the facility. What NFL player do you know has their own offices in the facility? And you had your own personal coach and your own team at all the practices and stuff there. So he took.
Yeah,
I think he took some of this stuff, and I'm not blaming it on his wife, but his wife is used to being a star, and when stars travel, they have their entourages. They get certain things put in their contracts. It's things got to be a certain way, and I think he took that and forgot about, especially going to a new team building. And then you add on the fact that after he left Seattle, all the stuff that was coming out of Seattle, people talking bad about him, and you didn't hear no one take up for Russell from Seattle.
Oh, okay. And it could be true. And then it also could be some bitter individuals because he left. I mean, I don't know because I'm not there. But all I'm saying is if Russell would have did the exact same thing he did as far as taking certain players or certain coaches and trying to enhance the team that he's on currently, everybody would be praising him if he was winning games. But because he didn't win any games, you got people hating on him because he was trying to facilitate a core that he could feel comfortable with to progress on the field.
I hear you. Winning is always the best deodorant. It covers up a lot of ills. So.
Sure is. Sure is.
Yeah. So you still got 2 head coaching positions open. You got the Arizona job and the Indianapolis job. It seems like no one really wants that Arizona job. Kyler Murray, they're talking about won't play until maybe November of next year, if at all. And stuff is coming out about him that he's more of a headache than we even thought.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like the Colts owner wants to keep Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, that's
I think that's a bad move. That's a bad move.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with those two because it's Super Bowl week and the NFL hates for new stuff to come out. I don't think you'll hear any announcements until at the earliest next week. So let's talk about the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Speaking of which, which teams did you say was supposed to be going to the Super Bowl? I couldn't wait till you came back on this show.
I know, because I was like, I said the Giants are not going nowhere. Not looking like that. That was awful.
Oh, my goodness.
That was terrible. I said, well, then I guess if you got to lose like that. I don't know. But yeah, I think the playoffs were. I think the teams in the playoffs this year. I think it could have really been any of those teams would have satisfied me going. Seriously, because I think everybody really had a good chance. I think, there was nothing. I think the 49ers. That whole situation was just unfortunate with them.
Oh, goodness! What in the world?
I mean, when they started talking about McCaffrey coming in, I was like, oh Lord! I mean, can it get any worse? But like I said, I think every team stood a really good chance of making it to the final game. So I'm happy to see, these 2 teams here as well. So it should be, how fitting it's Black History Month. You have 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. I think it couldn't have turned out any better.
Yeah, there are a lot of interesting storylines. For the first time ever, 2 brothers playing against each other with the Kelsey brothers.
Oh, yeah, that too.
The center for the Eagles, tight end for Kansas City. You got Andy Reid coaching against the team that he used to coach, that he could never win the Super Bowl with. Went to another team, won the Super Bowl. The current coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, when Andy Reid took the Kansas City job, he was actually the wide receivers coach on Kansas City when Reid got the job and Reid let him go. So that's another little spot. So it's a whole lot of stuff intertwined.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is we got the 2 number 1 seeds and quite honestly, the best 2 teams in each division for the whole season. We got the Eagles against the Chiefs.
$1 million question. $1 million question. Who gonna win?
I know.
Yeah, my wife been asking me this question all
Who gonna
week.
win?
If you just use your head and look at the breakdown of the teams, the Eagles have the better offensive line.
Mm,
They have the better defensive line. Now,
defensive,
Chris Jones
definitely.
in Kansas City is a beast, but the Eagles got 3 of those, and they got reserves that can come in and do 80% of what they do.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles got the better weapons. They got the better receiving crew, and they got a 2-headed running back crew. Now, I give Kansas City the tight end, but the Eagles tight end ain't no slouch.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles got the better defense. Secondary by far is much better because Kansas City's playing a bunch of rookies in their secondary for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So if you break everything down, everything says the Eagles should win. Plus, the Eagles got the number 1 defense, number 2 defense in the NFL this year, number 1 passing defense in the NFL, going against a pass-centric team.
But they can run the ball.
But then you got that bad man Patrick Mahomes, and sometimes you just throw all that stuff out the window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, one of y'all can pick because I'm still undecided.
Talk to us, yo. What you think?
I mean, well, for all of those same reasons too. I mean, I'm looking at the Eagles that way too. You know, they can't, especially, you know, everybody's healthy now. They came on strong these last few games, but you know, it's not the same Eagles team that won the Super Bowl before. So this team, to me, hasn't been there. Where Patrick Mahomes has been here now. So I think that he knows how to work. He knows how to work it a little bit better. You know, experience wise, and they've been in some tight situations this season. So for me, I'm thinking, you know, it can almost go either way. I'm hoping that it's a tight game. So I don't necessarily need to be low scoring, but I think it should be close, you know, almost, if not score for score. You know what I'm saying? You know, coming down to like the last few minutes. At least I would like to, you know, I would hope that it came down to something like that. That would be a good Super Bowl. But can I call it for real? I don't know. I mean, I want to give it to the experience of Patrick Mahomes, but I do see how the Eagles are playing. And it didn't seem like they depended a lot on Jalen, you know, on Hurts running the ball a whole lot the past few games. So that helps out a lot too, because when he doesn't have to run, you know what I'm saying, everybody else, you know, does the work. So we'll see what kind of happens.
So for me, you know, I really thought prior to last week or week before last that Kansas City would definitely edge Philadelphia Eagles. However, when the Philadelphia Eagles went through the 49ers like they weren't even on the field, I said, yeah, I got to give them that edge. I got to give them that edge because the 49ers had the best defense all year.
They did.
They looked at each and every team that they came up and then they were smashing people, shutting them down. They couldn't do nothing with Philly. So with that, I'm going to give them an edge, and I'm going to give them a 7-point edge.
All right. Philadelphia will win this game if they get up to a substantial lead and have it late into the second half. If Philadelphia leaves this game close and it's a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes going to do Patrick Mahomes things. I think he's that special of a quarterback.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I'm going to say the Eagles. But I don't have a whole lot of confidence in it.
Yeah, it's going to boil down to which defense steps up, because if Chris Jones doesn't stop Jalen Hurts, Philly going to run over top of him.
Yeah, and Chris Jones is going to be lining up either right on top of or to the side of Jason Kelce, arguably, if not the best center to ever play in the NFL, one of the top 3 centers ever to play in the NFL. So I don't think he's going to be as destructive. So that means everybody else is going to have to pitch in. So it's going to be interesting. But I think you're right. Whichever team's defense slows the other offense down wins the game.
I'll go with that.
All right. So let's talk about this NBA. the biggest news in the NBA, besides the Kyrie stuff, we're going to get to that in a second. LeBron James is 36 points shy of becoming the all-time leading scorer in the NBA history, passing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He plays tonight at Oklahoma City at 10 p.m. It's actually in LA at what's it called now? It's not the Staples Center anymore, or the whatever the new arena is. So they're playing at home. LeBron's flown in a bunch of people from Akron. He flew in his mom who was on vacation. So I think LeBron's going to try to take this record down tonight. If he doesn't do it tonight, they play the Bucks on Thursday, and that would kind of be,
yeah. I don't know, Giannis going to have that.
Be able to break the record against a team that drafted Kareem. That has some symbolism to it, too. So within the next 2 games, LeBron's going to be the all-time scorer. That's crazy, considering he's done it. He's played 100 and I heard it today, 160-something games less than Kareem. So that's two seasons less than Kareem. Played over 1,000 minutes less than Kareem, and you're ready to break his record. Now I know the game's changed with 3-pointers versus. I was
getting ready to say, come on, man, and he holds the and he handles the ball. So you expect him to have more points than Kareem? Come on, man.
No, he handles the ball. He's a point guard. Remember, we talked about this last week. LeBron is now the number 4 on the all-time list as assists in the NBA history as well. So he wasn't just shooting. He wasn't Kyrie, just give me the ball and I'm going to gun. He's number 4 in the NBA history in assists. He passed Jason Kidd in all-time assists. So it's an astonishing feat, considering everybody said that LeBron wasn't a scorer. He was more Magic than Michael. That's what they always said.
Wow. Maybe in the fourth quarter.
Oh, there you go. There go your shots. You know, Sis would be upset if you taking shots at his Lakers.
Speaking facts, bro. You know, the fourth quarter in his early years, he was ghost. Come on now.
What do you think this new or latest achievement puts LeBron in your all-time rankings, Joe?
Okay, well, I mean, LeBron's not really, high on my list of anything.
Wow.
You have to recognize, obviously the achievements that he's made. But I mean, when I like you said, when I look at stuff, like you said, the game has changed. I mean, outside of, like a Kareem or Will, where they were dropping more than like the other, the teams they were playing against. I mean, it's to me, it's I want to say it's almost kind of easy for him, especially like when you start out playing, I don't know, on a Cleveland Cavalier team where you're expected to be, getting the points, making the points. So it's I don't know. It's really weird for me, this whole thing. I just almost want it to happen so it can get over with.
Okay.
I mean, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm not taking anything at all away from, him and his accomplishments at all. But I mean, he's just, to me, he's not that exciting of a player. And I just think that he kind of like, it's almost kind of like Jordan, where Jordan was so dominant but he brought everybody else's game up. To me, LeBron is just not that type of player. Like, he's dominant, but doesn't seem like there are many other players that are, like they're not gunning for him. Do you know what I mean? It had that whole feel of, Michael, you playing Patrick Ewing in his Knicks, or you're playing, Charles Barkley, wherever he's playing at this point, the Suns or the Sixers, he's not, there's not those, it doesn't seem like those rivalries are a lot. it just looks like LeBron is out there playing for LeBron's sake and his team, and then that's it. And like nobody's really looking at like some of the other players, especially the young ones coming up, and pitting him against. He's not really pitted against anybody per se. So that's why to me it's just kind of like, okay, he's achieving these things and that's great, but to me it's almost like to no opposition.
That brings up a great point. So let me ask you this, Big Red. How come no one ever compares LeBron James to Kobe Bryant?
You know why? LeBron has more points, a higher scoring average, more assists, more rebounds, 4 league MVPs to Kobe's 1.
So it's no
4
comparison.
final MVPs.
So it's no comparison. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
A better shooting percentage.
But the Mamba, everybody used to talk about the Mamba though. So I mean, there were so many people that would compare Jordan to LeBron. And at one point, you used to hear so much about Kobe, but there was never a comparison. So that's why I'm asking.
Here's what I think. Michael was the biggest, I wouldn't say the biggest, because people didn't see Bill Russell. Bill Russell was the biggest killer in NBA history, but it was before any of us could see it. The man won 11 championships in 13 years.
Exactly.
So, but Michael, for everybody who could see, Michael was that killer. 6 NBA champ, went to the final 6 times, won it 6 times, 6 times finals MVP. So everybody has that vision. And Michael was in your face, aggressive. He beat up his teammates. He talked trash to his opponents. He put fear in the other teams. LeBron is a lover. LeBron wants people to like him. LeBron has everybody around the league. People love him. So his game is different. I think people take away from what he's achieved because he's 6'8", 6'9", 260 pounds. Just think of how you have to maintain your body to be that size and last for 20 years in the NBA. Mike was 6'5", 210, 220. So he's carrying a whole lot of extra weight, bigger, and had to do it. He's not shooting the pretty jumpers, or he is now, but even now his jump isn't pretty. Mike's jump was pretty. Mike was doing all the fancy moves. Kobe was doing the Mamba stuff where it was me against 5 and I'm going to take the whole team. Well, LeBron just been doing his thing. That man's gone to 10 NBA finals. Yeah, he lost 6 times, but I do disagree with you one thing, yo. He did have a robbery. The robbery was Golden State. Me and one of my buddies was talking about it. Steph Curry has 4 championships during the LeBron era, just as many as LeBron. And he won 2 of those directly against LeBron. So
should have been 3 because anyway.
Yeah. So I just think the way he's done it, people saying, "Oh, he's just a bully," kind of like they talk about Giannis now. He's just too big, too strong for everybody. Just take the ball and then he can't shoot. Now he's shooting 3-pointers, and then when you look at the statistics, he has a better 3-point shot, like I told you, than Kobe. Scores more points than Kobe, but he's not the scorer. So I think it's what people want to see.
Okay.
But yeah, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. I was the biggest Jordan fan, still am. I think LeBron is the best all-around basketball player that I've ever seen. When you look at everything and how he integrated everybody into the game, Mike did it Mike's way. And it was about Mike and then Mike and Scotty. All right, before we talk about these teams, we got to talk about the second biggest news in the NBA. J3's boy, Kyrie Irving. When all was quiet, everybody thought he had been a good soldier. He came back after all the craziness that he put the Nets through for the second year in a row. And because he couldn't work out a contract extension, last Friday he said, "I want to trade, I want out." And didn't tell his boy KD.
He's probably salty because KD said he wanted to get traded earlier.
Mhm.
But that's after KD said he wanted to be traded, after Kyrie said he wasn't going to sign with the Nets. But then when Kyrie said he wanted to sign back, KD was sick of him. So now the Nets trade Kyrie Irving and for Markieff Morris to the Dallas Mavericks for 2 starters, guard Spencer Dinwiddie, forward Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2029, I know it's 6 years away, but a 2029 unprotected first-round pick and 2 second-round picks, which are throw-ins. They won't even make the team. But A, do y'all think that Kyrie and Luka are going to work together? And B, could this trade actually make the Nets better once KD gets back? Because Spencer Dinwiddie, before they traded him away, when they got Kyrie and KD, he was balling with the Nets and was the reason why they wanted to come to Brooklyn.
Yep.
And Dorian Finney-Smith is the epitome of the 3-and-D guy, and Brooklyn doesn't play great defense. So now you got a 6'8" guy, wing defender that can play 2 through 4 and less drama on the team. So what y'all think about the trade, and who you think is going to end up, the better of this one?
Go ahead, J3. That's your man.
Well, I was getting ready to say, first of all, I think Kyrie going down to Dallas is just going to be another daggone flop. I don't see him and Luka meshing together. We already know how Kyrie is. Kyrie is not a team player. Kyrie only thinks of Kyrie. So he going to get down there and he going to cause a lot of stink down there, and he's going to be one to leave out within 1 to 2 years. As far as the Nets go, I think the acquisitions that they received is going to definitely strengthen their core, and they should be contenders for the NFC East.
Oh, you think they can contend in the East minus Kyrie?
Sir. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kyrie is a phenomenal player, but we all know he doesn't use his head like he should on the court. That's the problem.
What you say, yo?
Well, Kyrie, I think he's got a lot of I don't know. It's a lot of mental things going on with him, I think, that keeps him from really doing well. I don't know. I shouldn't say keeps him from doing stuff. I think kind of alters his outlook on I think what he's doing and how he's getting treated and this, that, and the other. So I don't care what team he's on. I know that I think that they were saying was the head coach made sure that he got traded anywhere but the Lakers.
No, not the head coach, the owner.
The owner. I'm sorry. Yeah, the owner. Yeah. So he said he wanted to make sure that whatever trade it was, that he did not go to LA. I don't know. There's a geriatric team anyway, so wouldn't matter to me much. But yeah. So I mean, that doesn't play in his favor at all. And then when Dallas. I said that's not going to work, because to me, Dallas kind of already has a little, has their own little thing already going. I don't think Kyrie's a good addition to what they have. I think that's going to take the ball away from Luka a lot. So I don't know how that's really going to play out at all. But I mean, I guess, I see Brooklyn doing. I think Brooklyn always played better, quite honestly, when either one or the other, whether it's KD or Kyrie, when one of them wasn't on the court, they always seem to play better. So this should be interesting to see how that all plays out. Although I do expect them to play much better without him, because I think it takes a lot of pressure, whatever tensions going on with him there. I think it takes a lot of that away. So I think that'll work. That'll work out in Brooklyn's favor. But, I just really want the drama to be over with. If this is what you wanted to trade, fine, give it to him, because he's been asking for a trade for a couple of years now. So just go on, get rid of him, and let's move on with life and see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The NBA trade deadline is this Thursday at 3 p.m. I think, like y'all, I think this frees up the Nets, other players to actually be more involved. I mean, you take second-year guard Cam Thomas. Thomas dropped 40-plus points in the last 2 games playing in Kyrie's spot. So he's not going to score that. But if he can score 18 to 20, with the addition that you get with Spencer Dinwiddie, who can run the point and play the two,
Oh yeah.
Dorian Finney-Smith, and you get KD back healthy, who they say is supposed to come back after the All-Star game from his knee injury. They could be a lot to deal with. So
I think so.
And don't forget, Dinwiddie can shoot that rock too.
Yeah,
Yes,
he was averaging 20+ points with the Nets before they traded him.
Exactly.
So it should be interesting. I think it's going to be. We will see. I know they are reporting that KD's business partner, who's his manager, has been in discussions with the ownership group about what's the future trajectory for the team. I'm not sure if KD is going to ask for a trade tomorrow and try to get traded, but the billionaire owner, Joe Tsai, has already put it out there. We're not trading KD. So y'all can call us about him. We ain't trading him. He's in his first year of a 4-year contract extension. He ain't going nowhere, at least not this year. So if KD puts his head on straight and just says, look, let's just ball and see what I can do with these young fellas and these few veterans, I think they got a shot to make some noise.
Speaking of which, what's up with his sidekick, Ben Simmons?
Yo, man. Now, that's the person who's got still dealing with mental stuff. For real.
Yeah, for real.
Man, what is going on?
I don't know.
I noticed that when Ben came over from Australia and played at LSU, and no one on LSU's team liked him, they used to ice him out of the game in the fourth period. But the head coach was like good friends with Ben's father. And you know, Shaq is like his goddaddy. So Shaq's got pull in LSU. So it was like they just had to deal with it. He doesn't get along with people. And then the fact that he's never been a big shooter, but he could score by, getting rebounds, taking it coast to coast, going to the hole. Now he don't want to shoot the ball at all. It's in his head after he missed that shot in Philly. So maybe this will free him up, not having Kyrie there, where he's forced to be more of a ball handler, get more involved with the game, him and Dinwiddie. So maybe this can help. But I'm not sure what's going to help. And he got 3 more years on this contract, paying $40-something million a year. That's a problem.
Yeah, because nobody's gonna pick it up. So he's gonna be there.
Yeah. Brooklyn got a lot of issues, but maybe being on a young team will be the best for all involved, because maybe they can be the next Memphis if they do this thing right.
Yeah.
So, speaking about teams, right now in the East, you got the Celtics, who lead the Eastern Conference, best record in NBA, 38-16. But hot on their tails are the Milwaukee Bucks. Your boy Chris Middleton, or Professor J's boy Chris Middleton, is getting healthier. He's looking better. The Bucks have won 9 of their last 10 games. And they getting hot. The Sixers are looking good. They're only 3 games back. They've won 8 out of their last 10. So it's going to be a fun Eastern Conference run. Now, the Celtics are talking crazy, talking about that they may break up Tatum and Brown if they can get KD. But you're not going to get – that's not going to be an even swap. That's what people don't realize.
That's crazy.
Why would you do that?
Right. Why would you trade a 26-year-old for a 36-year-old that's currently injured and has been injured every year?
Right.
So, but sounds like they may be a little desperate. We will see what goes on with them. But the Western Conference, that is crazy. The Nuggets lead the West 37-17. The Denver Nuggets, absolutely. The Denver Nuggets have actually been playing the best ball all year in the West. Jokic is doing good. They got Murray back finally. He's healthy. He's looking better. So I think they're going to be interesting. But can they win when it comes crunch time?
Yeah.
And then what's going on with y'all Memphis Grizzlies? They trying to fight everybody.
They want
I
to
mean,
show they got a
literally
chip.
trying to fight everybody.
They want to show they got a chip on their shoulder, and
Yeah,
they want to
they
be
feeling for
represented.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand being physical and letting people know you just ain't gonna come in here, but literally every night
Yeah, it seems that way.
they either
Hey.
almost fighting on the court, or did y'all hear the other day when they was leaving? I think it was Indiana, that they was beefing on the court. So one of the players was beefing with Josh's father and one of his boys,
Oh yeah,
and supposedly they had an SUV roll up on their bus
yeah.
and shine a laser in their bus.
Yeah, yeah.
That ain't funny.
Nah, that's taking it too far. But think about this
Yeah,
though.
it's just too much.
You know, when Detroit Pistons used to be called the bad boys, it used to be glorified because they always tried to bully people. I think it's just a new rendition of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, but we the new NBA. They don't want that.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just using that as a comparison.
I hear you.
Do you agree though? You hear me, but do you agree?
Maybe that's what they're trying to do, but it ain't working. They 2-8 in their last 10 games.
Well, gotta get knocked down to get knocked up.
So, but in the West, you got the Nuggets number 1, Memphis is still number 2, but now they've dropped back to 4.5 games back. The Sacramento Kings have been steady in number 3. That's it. That's one of them teams you're like, Sacramento third? Nah, that ain't gonna last.
Heard that name in a long time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
They've been third for most of the season. They're only 6.5 games back, and they got a nice young squad that's putting it together. Shout out to Mike Brown. He brought that Golden State offense out there. Made a bunch of trades. They got like 4 or 5 different guys from Kentucky that can all ball and can shoot, that are still within their 20s. They got Sabonis as a big man doing a thing, so they're going to be interesting. But they have no playoff experience, so I think that's where they'll come.
Somewhere, though. I mean, that's a good thing. You got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. So. But from them to 13, the difference is only 5.5 games.
I was going to say,
3 to 13 is only 5.5 games.
That's how it should be. You don't want no team to dominate the whole daggone season, right? You want something worthwhile watching. So this is good. This is real good for the league.
Yeah, that's gonna make the final push to the postseason just crazy. Depending on the team, all teams got like 26 to 29 games. People think of the All-Star break as the midway point. It's actually more like the 2/3 point.
Yeah, it's a little more than half. Yeah.
Yeah, so they really get into that push after All-Star break, which is next weekend. So it's going to be fun time. So, yeah, get ready. I think we may have one bombshell for the trade deadline on Thursday. I don't think not more than that, just because so many teams in the West are still in it. And I think even in the East, you've got the top. You got 12 teams still in the race for the playoffs in the East. So a lot of the teams are still in it to make the playoffs. So I don't think you'll have a lot of movement on trade deadline, but we will see. But definitely we'll have a lot to talk about start next week when we get heavy into basketball. So enjoy your NBA. And again, LeBron James, either tonight or probably at the latest Thursday, will become the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. So shout out to history. All right. Another great show. We've done it again. But before we get out of here, as usual, we got to give the folks our final post. So, Yo, as the lady of the group, if you can start us off, what's your final post of the evening for us?
Oh, Lord, that final post of the evening. Well, again, just don't forget, with everything going on, like I said, it is Black History Month. So, just, be aware. Still got a lot of things to do, to help change in this country. So, just be aware of that, and please, the accomplishment that a lot of these Black athletes are coming up with, just be mindful that it didn't always become this easy for us. So, watch them, and I always say watch something good because we got a lot going on, a lot of different, like I said, hockey, baseball, spring training starting. So you got the NBA, got the Super Bowl happening here, and of course I like NASCAR too. So the NASCAR's, starting off. So, always watch something good.
Great final post. J3, what you got for me?
So I just want to piggyback off of what Yolanda just stated. This is Black History Month. And do realize that even though everyone cannot be a celebrity or everyone cannot be a politician, realize that you do make a difference and you are part of history as well.
All right. Y'all keeping it serious. I'm going to get it back to sports. My final post, talk about hockey. This past weekend was the NHL All-Star Game, which is one of the probably least popular of the All-Star games out there. But I want to give a shout out to ESPN, ABC and ESPN, Disney. They did put out a great product. It's called Greatness. It's about Alex Ovechkin, and it's mainly an hour long show with Alex Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky talking about the scoring record and how their connection came to be, and what Gretzky sent Alex one of his sticks that he broke the record with after he reached 700 goals after he told him. So it's just a great piece that they put together. And like Yo said, the hockey season's going on. It's also in this last 2/3. It's in rare form. So there's some great stuff on there. But please, if you get a chance, search it. Greatness, the Alex Ovechkin story. It's a great piece. And shout out to Ovi doing stuff that nobody thought would be possible and actually has a chance of at least catching the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So, all right, folks, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and the opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. We're here each and every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for our live show. You can also download this show and previous shows via our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, and listen to our shows on your favorite podcast platform. Just put in Positional Sports Talk Show, and it'll come up. Whichever platform you decide to check us out on, please do us a favor. Please like and subscribe. Greatly appreciate that. And if you want to hit us up, you can hit us up on Facebook at Positions on Sports and Twitter at Positions on SBO1. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, have a safe week. Take care of yourself. COVID's still out there. Just had 2 games in the NCAA canceled because of COVID protocol. So protect yourselves. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Peace.
See ya.